Alright guys, I know it's pathetic, with some of the airlines where like you can have only one carry-on with that's under 7 kilograms in weight. I know some airlines and some airports are just like that. Some airlines with their rules with carrying under 23 kilograms. It's not nice. It's not a nice position to be in. It's not nice to have things, have your belongings, packed in under 23 kilograms if you're like leaving a place and going to another permanently. But they are what they are. So the other thing, guys, I highly discourage you to take things that can be agriculturally active, like different types of foods, different types of meats, cured or dried, pickled or fermented delicacies, because every traveler's bag will be searched, and if you have something that can potentially affect the biology, biodiversity and ecology of the nation you're headed to, the airport security will stop you. But before that, you will have to sign a waiver form declaring that you have such things on you. The other important thing that you'll most probably have are some toiletries. Many of us want to freshen up while we're on the road, or in this case, the air, and at transit terminals. So you'll probably have some toothpaste, some perfume, some cologne, some soap of some kind, the one that, is best suited for your skin. Totally understandable, yeah. But you have to remember that usually you can't have more than 4 types of these items on your carry-on, in your carry-on bag. And each bottle can't have more than 100 milliliters of the product in it, or 3.4 ounces in each bottle, all right? It can't be more than that. Now, with most of the technicalities out of the way, the mundane information, I think we're done with all of that. Here comes the fun part, the actual story. So in June of 2012, I left my home in Kathmandu, Nepal, to go spend the summer with my brother in the United States. A rare opportunity for me because I was in medical school at the time, and I didn't usually have holidays that were that long. So 6 weeks worth of a vacation was quite a treat for me. All right, and my brother was at the time teaching at the University of Rochester in New York, and fast forward the drive to the airport, and I was at the check-in counter for Singapore Airlines regional carrier Silk Air. Okay, I didn't have any luggage to check in, so all that I had to do was verify my passport and ticket and get my boarding passes at the counter. If you're wondering what the luggage check-in area and the counter looks like, here's a picture. Now, my first mistake. The lady at the counter asked me if I was okay with having a window side seat from Singapore all the way to New York, and I said yes. In retrospect, I can't help but say to myself how oblivious I was at the time. Now, fellas, I'm a tall person. I'm 6 feet 2 inches tall, and no matter how much space there is between my seat and the seat in front of me, even if it's an Airbus A380, I never have enough leg room, all right, in economy class. And worse, if it's an overnight flight, I can't sleep while I'm sitting up. I always have to be parallel to the ground. It's just a habit of mine. I just need to be, somewhat parallel to the ground to catch some sleep, unless I'm extremely exhausted. So I mean, that was terrible. So if you guys are wondering what kind of seat it was like, here's a picture showing what kind of predicament I was in. But before that, I had to go through terminal security and immigration. I waited outside of the gates leading to my plane, then followed the airport's personnel's instructions and the crowd in front of me, basically. Then we boarded the plane and took off for Singapore. That leg of the trip, fellas, was not so bad for me. It was around 12 in the afternoon, and it was a 5-hour flight. I talked to the Nepali people around me, and pretty much felt like 5 hours passed away pretty quickly. And then after that, once we arrived at Singapore, I stepped out onto the ramp, and the humidity felt like it was at 100%. but once I got into the terminal, the heavy feeling of the moisture in the air was gone. Changi International Airport, so Singapore's international airport, apparently has an excellent ventilation system. It's voted the best airport in the world by Skytrax. It has a bunch of awards. Obviously it's going to have a good ventilation system. Now, fellas, those of you who don't know, most of the modern airports around the world have great signs, numbers, and letters guiding you to your designated gate in the airport. It's important to read what's on the screens, and they'll always have essential airport information and all of the terminal's flights information. All right, so be aware and look around for signboards and read the signs, read what's on your boarding pass, and be sure to make your way through correctly through an airport. Remember to check the number of the gate that you're supposed to go on your boarding pass and follow the clearly labeled signs on how to get there. If you run into any problems, airport personnel and the people at the information desk will always help you find your way around the airport. Guys, do not hesitate to ask, all right? Do not hesitate to ask if you have any problems finding your way through an airport with airport personnel, okay? So continuing with the story, I got off at Terminal 2 of the airport, and I needed to get through to Terminal 3, according to my boarding pass. I followed the signs that were labeled SkyRail to Terminal 3. Now remember, fellas, if you need to change terminals at an airport to get to your gate, they'll usually have an airport train service taking you from one terminal to another, okay? Now, Terminal 2 at Changi International Airport was pretty much the way I expected it to be. Clean, organized, spacious. But Terminal 3, guys, after I got off the SkyTrain, guys, it was a totally different animal. All right, it was so big, it was so clean. The duty-free shops were so shiny and glitzy. I mean, I really couldn't believe my eyes. It was that clean. I mean, you could serve food on the floor and eat off of it. No, don't do that. I'm just kidding. You'll probably get sick if you eat off the floor. Like as in any other airport. But I mean, it's really, really clean. It was, spick and span. And for years, in a developing country like Nepal, where everything was dusty and dirty, had taken its toll on me, basically. I just walked around the terminal, marveling at the immaculateness of the place. My layover was for 3 hours, and if you want to see a video of the airport, guys, there's a gentleman, I forgot his name. There's a gentleman who has a video of what Changi International Airport is like, and if you want to see that, you can go ahead and click the link in the description below. I'll link him in the description box below, alright guys? While I was there, I called my family that lived there locally in Singapore, and updated my Facebook status and sent an email to my parents and my brother telling them that I had arrived at Singapore. Then I went back to my gate and got out my boarding pass and passport and boarded the plane from Singapore to Frankfurt and then onwards to New York. Now, fellas, remember that this was an Airbus A380. It's a full-length double-decker jumbo jet, okay? There are three or four walkways leading to the upper and lower decks, okay? And this time I was on the lower deck. Now that's fine, but what was terrible was that I was seated on the window side seat with two ladies to my side that knew almost nearly no English, which was not pleasant, guys. No. 12 hours from Singapore to Frankfurt, Germany. Although the A380 economy seat is comfortable in comparison to other airplanes, it's going to be very comfortable for a person who can sleep in any given position. All right. I mean, unlike me, I can't. I find it very hard to sleep. Sitting upright, basically. But for me, it wasn't great. I mean, with the background noise, I just can't sleep on airplanes if I'm sitting up, guys. I could probably sleep if I was lying down, but you know, you need to get into a business class seat, you know, where like you're a high roller, or a first class seat where like, you know, these rules don't even apply. You know, the luggage criteria, you know, the carry-on criteria doesn't even apply. I mean, you should go check what you can get with your airlines when you're flying business and first class. All right, guys. So I should have asked for the aisle side seat, you know, the walkway side seat. I was in the window side seat, and you know, it was just terrible, guys. I wouldn't have to disturb anybody to go to the bathroom, and now that leg of the trip seriously took a toll on my health. I think I'm almost out of time, guys. So I'll include the rest of my story and information in the next video. So be sure to check out the next part of this video. I'll have it in the link in the description below, or it's probably going to come up in the suggested videos section of the page. All right. So I'll catch you on the next part.